Welcome to True Crime with Strategic Eyes.
Strategic back again. Oh man, we got a crazy show for you guys today, man. I went through some of these emails. Now, first of all, I was able to get these emails on my own by making my own requests. But my understanding, because I don't know a lot about how the FOIA request process works and all that good stuff, but from watching other YouTubers, heavy hitters like Plunder and Grizzly, what I've surmised from what they've said is that all of these requests have been paid for by somebody, right? And after it's initially paid for, then anybody who makes a subsequent request gets the request for free, unless, of course, they want paper copies or something like that. So that being said, if that's how it really works, and I received these documents for free because somebody else paid for them, I want to say thank you to whichever YouTuber happened to pay for this recent dump of information, because without them paying for it, we would not have access to it. And I acknowledge I didn't pay anything for these documents, but we do have our own copy, and we'll be using our copy today, which does not have any watermarks or anything like that on there. So before we get started, I'm going to be evaluating this from a professional standpoint. I am an active duty sex crimes detective with 18 and a half years of experience. Soon I'm going to have to say 19 years. Isn't that crazy how time flies? I got a 17-year-old who's turning 18 this year, man. This is crazy how time flies for us adults. But anyway, 18 and a half years of experience in law enforcement, 14 and a half, soon to 15 years of experience as an actual sex crimes investigator. I've been doing this for a very long time. I've been doing this for most of my adult life. So this is something that's near and dear to me. I have a bachelor's degree. I also have tons of training and certifications: crime scene technician, level 1 fingerprint examiner, read interrogator. All these different things I've amassed throughout my career. I'm using all of that knowledge to break this stuff down for you guys and give you my opinions. No, I am not acting as a spokesperson for my department. I'm talking as a private citizen, but you can't separate the experience from the person. So I'm using that experience to help educate you guys and guide you down this corridor of finding justice for Maddie. So last thing, we do not make content for kids. That doesn't mean that our content is inappropriate. It is not inappropriate. We follow YouTube's guidelines, or at least we try to. But we don't make content for kids. So viewer discretion is advised, and this content is for an 18 and up audience. All right, guys, we got a really good show for you guys today. I want to go through some of the emails that Stephan Stearns put out there. Well, yeah, he kind of put it out there because he should know by this time. I'm sure that his attorneys have thoroughly explained it to him that everything that he says on the phone, via email, whatever, it's going to be recorded, it's going to be quantified, and it's going to be available for FOIA, meaning people like myself who are interested in getting justice for Maddie. We're going to see this stuff. We're going to possess the words that he's sharing with his loved ones. Now, why are we doing this? I'm sure a lot of people on Stephan Stearns' campus probably asking this question, not the attorneys, because they understand what's going on. The reason why we want to read these emails is because we want to understand the mind of somebody who would do something as diabolical and disgusting and horrible as what Stephan Stearns did to Maddie, okay? That is the only reason. We want to read this information to see if there's some evidence in there, something probative that can help us get closer to justice. But most importantly, we want understanding. And through understanding, we can get finality. Through finality, we can get closure, because we've all been traumatized off of Stephan Stearns' actions. And unfortunately, but yet still fortunately, our criminal justice system moves at a snail's pace, which means that weeks and months go by without resolution. And that just makes us ask more questions. Why? Because we're human beings, and that's what human beings do. We ask questions and we look for solutions. So ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you hit that like button as you're watching the show so we can get into the algorithm. I know it's a heavy topic. I know it's not something that people are being entertained by, because this is not necessarily an entertaining show, even though I try and make it a little entertaining. We ask for you to hit the like button just so we can get into that algorithm. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Your like is simply because you want to see this show successful. That's it. So hit the like button so that we can get into that algorithm. If you don't mind, then you can say something in the chat, say hi, give it a thumbs up, give it an emoji, whatever you want to do, because that's called engagement. And that, along with your like, tells the YouTube algorithm that this show is probative, that it's worthwhile, and that they should show it to a wider audience. And that's all we're asking for from the bottom of our hearts. Now, why did I title New Stephan Stern's emails reveal Beelzebub is calling for him? Why? Because Stephan Stern is talking in this email that we're about to read about dreams he's having of an enemy. He calls it an enemy chasing after him. And I think that is Beelzebub. That's the man downstairs letting him know soon and very soon you are going to come home to me. That's the man downstairs saying, soon I will have you where you belong, in eternal damnation. But let's go ahead and read some of this email, man. This stuff is really interesting stuff here. We already read yesterday the email from some fake wannabe paramour. I think there's maybe some more emails from her. I'm not sure. I got to check. We'll go ahead and explore that a little bit further. But I want to read for you this email about Stephan Stern's kind of talking about these dreams he's having. And then another email on page 19 kind of caught my eye, where it's Stearns and his father kind of talking about their feelings on the case, etc. And I want to explore that and jump into that. So big shout out to all of the members who are joining me. We definitely appreciate and need you guys. We've had 90% of our shows demonetized for the month of June, which is, you know, it's heartbreaking a little bit because we're putting our heart and soul into this show, and it's sad when, you know, you're putting so much in and YouTube decides to give you so little back, right? So we do need those members, and those members are the lifeblood of the show, and we appreciate you guys. So thank you so much for being members. And big shout out to everybody who's a Patreon, who may not be a member, so I won't know that you're a Patreon member. But big shout out to everybody who's a part of the Patreon and who's supporting me and who's here today. All right, so this email was sent on, let's see here, July 25th, 2024 at 15:38 hours. And this is from Stephan Stern to his father, Chris Stern. Now, maybe we shouldn't start here. Maybe we should start with Chris Stern messaging Stephan Stern. And this is, yeah, so we'll start there so we can maybe get some context as to why is he saying this. Maybe we'll get the context, maybe we won't. Maybe he's just going on a tangent, something totally unrelated. But I think it's always good to start a little behind, kind of work your way forward so you can know where you're standing with the conversation. So Chris Stern emailed Stephan Stern on July 25th, 2024 at 3:35 p.m. So it looks like to me, based on the rapid succession of emails, that they learned their lesson and they kind of figured out that, hey, our phone calls are going to be recorded. Not only are they recorded, but they're also being FOIA'd. So maybe they thought that the emails were safer. I don't know. Or maybe they felt like the emails would sting a little less than people hearing their voice. Because I think when you hear a person's voice, it stings a little bit more than when somebody's writing something, because we've all become accustomed to understanding that you lose nuance when people are writing text messages or emails. You don't really know where their emotions are and how they truly want to express the words that they're writing. But when you hear it with your ears, there's no interpretation. You can definitely say, all right, this person is making excuses for a guilty person, or this person is showing empathy when they shouldn't show empathy. This person is showing anger when they shouldn't show anger. You can interpret it for yourself. You don't need somebody to interpret it for you. Either way, they've decided to apparently shift most of their conversations to email. So let's go ahead and read it. Hi, Stephan. Chris and I have been dieting since January. So this is obviously his mother using Chris Stern's account. I guess they're just using one account. And mommy's talking to him now. No exercise for me since the indoor pool vapor incident. What is that? Indoor pool vapor incident? Interesting. That was a fun day in the ER. So Chris is smaller than when we were in high school. I'm down 57 pounds too. Gets easier. Although we did a fish sandwich and fried splurge last night, it hit the spot. You're in my prayers daily. Stay fit mentally and physically. It helps with the stress. I wish we could do more for you there, but there isn't a lot available, unfortunately. Again, getting out off here, I'm reading past posts from you just for today. Hugs. So that's Stephan Stern's mom's talking to her son. Let's keep going. So Stearns sends a reply message 3 minutes later, and he says, hey, hard to believe I'm missing an entire litter of puppies. I wish I could see them. The meals are called Fresh Favorites, and they are special meals that are delivered at certain times, I guess. Notice everything always comes back to commissary with Stephan Stearns. Always comes back to him. But let's keep going. I saw the other pods receiving them today, and there were things like burgers, Phillies, calzones, wings, etc. Some people were getting 2 or 3 things. It was interesting. I'm not sure how it works, only that your family can order it from the commissary site, and I doubt it's cheap. Have you gotten any delivery confirmation for any of the books you sent yet? Depending on when they arrive, it could take a couple days to finally get into my hands here. I read through the Howling trilogy, and surprisingly, no nightmares. I guess reality is worse for me at this point. Well, could it possibly be, Stephan, that you are a nightmare? The actions and the choices that you've chosen in this life were the most horrific thing that anybody could do to another human being. You can't write books scarier than you, Stephan Stearns. It's amazing to me how you like reading horror novels when you are scarier than any Dracula. Dracula would bite your neck and drain you. The werewolves would bite you to death. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre guy would saw you in half. You literally took everything from a human being and then you took their life. You violated their body, you violated their space, and then you took their life. There's no creature that we could write about, imagine, or even see in the real world. No lion, no tiger, no parasite, no nothing that could be done to a human being by an outside force that's more scarier than how you treated Madeline Soto. So amazes me how he's looking for frights and excitement and fear when all he has to do is just, in a book, when all he has to do is just look in the mirror. That's it. Literally just look in a mirror. But anyway, let's keep going. And it's funny that he actually is honest with himself when he says, and surprisingly, no nightmares. I guess reality is worse for me at this point. Yes, the reality that you are the monster. But let's keep going. Although yesterday I did have a bad nightmare and woke up lashing out at an imagined enemy. It's been a long time since I had a dream like that, and it was unpleasant. Gotta give the tablet back. Talk to you later. It's not his subconscious that's talking to him. It's not his imagination.
Oh, hell no!
I don't even think it's Maddie. She don't have time for him. She's in the bosom of our Lord. If you believe. If you don't believe, hopefully you believe that there's a better place in some shape and form. Or maybe you believe in nothingness. Whatever, no shade. It's all good. It's a welcoming community here. She's in the bosom of our Lord. She does not have time to come and commune with Stearns. There's an entity that was created by the Almighty to serve this specific purpose. Everything is by design. And that entity is doing his job. And he's letting Stephan Stearns get a taste of what is to come. We know who visited Stephan Stearns. We know who visited him. And it wasn't this guy. Jesus! It wasn't him. As much as Deborah Stearns would love for it to be Jesus. Nah, that wasn't the being that visited Stephan Stearns that night. We know who visited Stephan Stearns. So I want to go up to 19, guys. I want to start reading that because it's very, very, very interesting. Let's go ahead and scroll on up here. It's a long one. So we'll start at 18 with this. We'll start with the one that we spoke about yesterday because I think 19 kind of addresses Lisa Houston, if that's even her real name. I doubt that that's a real name. It's not a British name. You don't see people in Britain named Lisa Houston. All right. Big shout out to everybody who's joined us today. We do want to show some love to the chat. Aki is in the building, so if there's anything worth me shouting out, she's definitely going to highlight that. I'll catch it in my peripheral and I'll jump on over there. But in the meantime, we see a lot of members in the building, and I appreciate you guys. You guys are the life's blood of the channel. For the people who aren't members, we hope that one day you'll decide to become a member. But what everybody who's watching this right now, all 160 of you can do for me is you can hit that like button. You can also put something in the chat, whether it's a smiley face, whatever you want to put in it, whatever emoji. If you want to have a conversation, it's even better. But if you could put something in that chat for engagement, we definitely would appreciate it. We are fighting against insurmountable odds right now, but we're going to surmount them. And that is the YouTube algorithm. For some strange reasons, I don't know if it's my delivery. I don't know if what it is. I have no idea, okay? I'm not one of those race betas, so I ain't going to make it about race. But for some strange reason, this algorithm is holding me down. It's not showing my show to a wider audience, even though I come to this platform with a plethora of experience. I come to this platform as an active duty detective, sex crimes detective, and I specifically talk about sexual assault cases, yet YouTube is not showing this platform the love that it deserves. It's not showing this community, which is not about me. We're talking about the community now that we're building, the respect that we deserve. So we need to do our best to punch through that glass ceiling that they're trying to put on True Crime and Strategic. Punch through that ceiling and get to that wider audience. I don't know what it is. They've also been doing some weird things where when I put the video up for monetization, normally a computer will check it. They've been now telling me you have to wait an additional 24 hours because a human is going to check this now without me even asking. They're like singling out my show for additional human checks to see if it's monetizable. Something I've never seen before, even heard before. And then the human watches it and says it cannot be monetized. That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand what's happening, but I need your help to help me defeat this. Maybe it's Beelzebub. Mephistopheles. I don't know. Maybe that's who's running YouTube. Beelzebub. Anyway, let's keep going. Big shout out to everybody. Oh, and Dr. Cataclysm with a 5-gift membership. Thank you so much, Dr. Cataclysm. We appreciate you. For those lucky people who got that free gift membership, make sure you thank Dr. Cataclysm for his generosity. He's always showing love to the channel. U.S. Patriot Lady celebrating 18 months as a patrol member, said, I made it live. Happy to be here. We were happy to have you as well. And Erica Garcia, who just welcomed herself as a patrol member for True Crime and Strategic. You guys are amazing. We do appreciate your support. Let's get back to this, guys. All right. So we'll start off on, this was sent July 24th, 2024 at 13:26 hours. The recipient has been deleted. That means that Stephan Stearns has deleted her. And Lisa Houston says, hi, how are you doing? Hi, hope you don't mind me writing to you. I'm sure you could do with a friend. Seeing your pictures online, you look like a very attractive man. I see you like gaming. Me too. I love Pokemon Go. What about GTA? GTA is Grand Theft Auto. If you don't know, it's basically a game of criminality and anarchy. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. I grew up playing Grand Theft Auto. I think it's a fun game. When the new GTA 6 comes out, I'm most likely going to end up purchasing it and playing it as a 40-something-year-old man. So I'm not knocking it, but just letting you know what it is. I love that too, though mostly drive knocking cops down, trying to get 5 stars than anything else. In that game, if you attack police officers, your threat level raises, and when you get to 5 stars, they're like helicopters are crashing into you, cops are ramming into you, they're shooting at you. It's like anarchy. Some people like playing the game that way. Do you play that? I live in the UK. I was in Florida last year for the first time. I just don't feel like this is real. I think this is trolling, but we talked about that in a previous video. Go check that video out. We dropped it last night at midnight or a little after midnight, so please go check it out. Would like to go again next year. Just need to start saving. It's so expensive to go from here. We'll write more next time. If you're interested in keeping in touch, take care, Lisa XX. Okay, now let's go down to Stephan Stern's reply. All right, I see some super stickers. We'll get to you guys in a second. I do appreciate the support, guys, especially since we've been demonetized so many times this month. Thank you so much. All right. Stephan responds to Chris Stearns, and he says, hey, just got the tablet. Hope you had a peaceful, enjoyable birthday. In answer to your question, well, it's an interesting question, obviously a complex thing. Growing up with you both was a mixture of things. It wasn't always sunshine and rainbows, of course, but it wasn't always rain clouds either. There were plenty of good times and good things, or at least I have some good memories. But if you are asking for anything that was not a happy memory, I can give you a general rundown of that, at least from my perspective, without getting too far into any great detail. My brother left pretty early for the reasons we already know. I've usually tried to stay out of the brother's life. I haven't reported on a brother, and I will not report on a brother because a brother is an American hero. But one thing I'm confused on is whose son is the brother? Is the brother Chris's son, or is the brother Deborah's son, or is it their biological son that they shared together and now they have 2 kids, which is Stephan Stearns and the brother? That's the only question I have. I don't want to know the brother's name, even though I know it. I don't want to say his name. I don't want to involve him with this case because he has purposely separated himself from this family, separated himself from Stephan Stearns. He's not reached out to Stephan Stearns, even though it is his right to do that because that is his biological brother. But also out of respect for his service, because I have so much respect for our military members, and this man is a high-ranking military official. This guy is an American hero, and I don't want his name to be tarnished and his reputation to be tarnished because of what his evil little brother has done. And I'd hope that all YouTubers, and you guys can do whatever you want, I'm certainly not the boss of you, but I'd hope that all YouTubers would equally share this conviction that I have to not bother the brother and tarnish his reputation because of the sins of his brother. That guy's an American hero. But anyway, let's keep going. Let's see where you can find our place that we left off. But if you ask for anything that was not happy, I was generally run down of that, at least from my perspective, without getting too far into any great detail. My brother left pretty early for the reasons we already know, and I remember what life was like before he left in my early years, the times he would run away, etc. The fights between you and mom, too. So they were in a very dysfunctional home where the older brother would run away from this dysfunctional home. The heavy-handed discipline from her. So the mother basically was abusive. That's what Stearns is saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm interpreting his words as abuse, and he's also citing it as bad memories. So the heavy-handed discipline from her, paired with the verbal and emotional aspects as well, while on the flip side, you seem to have a somewhat more cool and perhaps even detached demeanor. So basically what Stephan is saying is that his mother was abusive and his father was detached, okay? You've never seemed overly sentimental about anything. The general feeling of instability that was always present, the constant struggle, the constant moving around every couple of years, never really being able to put roots down anywhere, never having friends for very long, always having to start over somewhere new just when I was feeling settled where we were. Now, guys, Oh boy. We're gonna have to we're gonna have to put on the music for this. Because what Stephan Stearns is doing right now is he's gaslighting his parents. Did he have a perfect life? Probably not. Did those two adults, those two old people, which at one point were young people who couldn't get it together, did they make mistakes? Probably. Guess what? Strategic has made mistakes too, and so have you. It doesn't give this person the right to do what he did to Maddie. But what he's doing right now is in a very sly and sneaky gaslighting way. He's putting blame on his parents for what he did. But don't worry. We're going to keep going. The constant moving around. Let me put the volume down a little bit. Let's do it right. The constant moving around every couple of years, never really being able to put roots down on anywhere, never having friends for very long, always having to start over somewhere, just when I started feeling settled where we were. It's always felt like I was just passing through wherever I was. Let's keep going. We need some more. Hold on here. And everyone else was just passing through my life. I never had a home. I don't have any best friends from childhood. I've never gone to any class reunions or had any reason to. I never knew anyone or anything anywhere long enough to bother. There seemed to have been a lot of turmoil and constant upheaval throughout my growing up. You guys hear this, man? This guy is just a mess. He's a mess. He holds no accountability whatsoever. He's incapable of holding himself accountable for his actions. He just blames everybody else. Let's keep going. I'm having so much fun reading this. Which is likely why I have been a loner for most of my life. I never had a chance to settle in and truly establish myself until we finally moved back here when I turned 18. And I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to leave the West Coast at all. Perhaps that has contributed in some way to my being so dependent on you guys for so long. So them moving around trying to find a better life is the reason why Stephan Stearns is dependent on them as an adult. As though a man with no kids couldn't just move to the West Coast. I mean, I want to make it sound like it's that easy. I get it. It's difficult. But Stephan Stearns could have decided to actually take his education seriously. He could have went to college in the West Coast. He could have gone to college somewhere else, find a trade or a tool that could get him employment and moved to the West Coast. He did not have to stay tethered to his parents' hips in the way that he has stayed tethered. That was a conscious decision that he made on his own. Let's keep going. Perhaps that has contributed in some way to my being so dependent on you guys for so long. But I don't know. Maybe my mind just refused to commit to settling down in Florida. But I didn't have the means or skills to get out on my own. Mind you, your father tried to make you real estate. Your father put you in management positions in different companies and stuff like that. And you did nothing with it. Nothing with it. Nothing. But anyway, let's keep going. And it's funny that I said real estate because one of you guys, so petty, but I love it. One of you guys, somewhere on the interwebs, filed a complaint with the real estate board of Florida, and they revoked Stephan Stearns' real estate license while he was in prison. That was so sweet. I love it. Great job, guys. When I look back at my life, I do feel a great deal of disappointment and regret. The only disappointment and regret you should have, Stephan, is that you are a loser and that you chose to be a loser. You made a conscious effort to be a loser, regardless of all the privilege you had. And I'm not talking about no white privilege. You know, we don't do that racial stuff here on this show. I'm talking about having parents who basically were obviously very guilty about the life that they gave you, the instability, because I do believe that that's real and that existed. And so they tried their best to coddle you as an adult to make up for their shortcomings when they were younger, raising you as a child. And they gave you multiple opportunities to fix your life, a roof under your head in a middle-class community, ample job opportunities, your father leveraging every single business connection and friendship that he has ever developed to put you in work. And each time you had those opportunities, you chose failure. You did not choose or embrace success. You chose failure. Let's keep going. I don't lay all of it on your feet, even though like up until this point, that entire email seemed as though you were. And I don't fully blame either. Some of it was my own fault as well. Oh, finally, let's give him a yay. Finally, he took a smidgen of accountability onto his own shoulders for not trying harder or even committing to finding my own path. So he acknowledges that. Not taking good advice, he acknowledges that. And not just striking out on my own, come what may. He is acknowledging that. Very good. I suppose I was afraid of being untethered on my own, facing the possibility of failure, but that attitude really only guaranteed a more total and complete failure in the long run. I'm not sure what kind of effect all of these things have on a person growing up, but I imagine there is some kind of effect. Whatever it may be, either way, we all have made some mistakes on our own ends in our own ways. And of course, who knows what lasting effect was caused by being run over when I was little and suffering that brain trauma. Once again, deflecting. It's the parents. They're horrible. Mommy's verbally and physically abusive. She was terrible. Daddy was aloof and didn't give a damn about anything, whatever. And I got run over. My brother ran away and he left and made a life for himself. The house was so bad that the brother kept running away. What did the brother do? The brother joined the military and made a life for himself. Now he's a high-ranking military official, making over $100,000 a year. He didn't make excuses. He didn't go out there and diddle little kiddos. He made a life for himself and dedicated his life to service. Look what you did. Anyway, no accountability. And of course, who knows what lasting effect, of course, he said the brain trauma. Obviously, there were some behavioral issues that persisted long after that. And I'm sure this is another contributing factor to my development as well. This is also going to be part of his defense. So keep that in mind, guys. That's going to be part of his defense. Keep that in mind. Let me see if I can highlight that. Yes, that's going to be part of his defense right there. Let's keep going. I guess there isn't really any one thing to blame. Mind you guys, just to let you know, I don't have the Strategic Eyes tablet. My son broke it. He's 6. He had a temper tantrum. He threw it and he broke it. So what did I do? I said, son, I'm very disappointed you broke it. He immediately snapped and was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, Daddy. I'm really sorry, Daddy. I didn't mean to do it. I apologize. I said, don't let it happen again. And I sent it to Samsung and they said they're going to fix it, but it's taking them almost 2 months to fix it. So keep that in mind, people. I love Samsung. I have all of their products. Every single Samsung product you could think of, I have. I have their washing machines. I have their phone. I have their watch, which is not on my wrist right now. I have their earbuds. I have everything. But when it comes to them fixing their products, it takes them a while. Keep that in mind. Anyway, let's keep going. I guess there isn't really any one thing to blame. We are all the sum of our experiences. There were many good memories too, and some very good times. It wasn't all rain clouds, as I said, and I always had a roof over my head and food on the table. So now he's looking at the big picture. Clothes on my back. You always worked hard and tirelessly to provide for us, and you still do. I love you both very much and have always been strongly attached to my family. I am proud of you in a lot of ways, and you and Mom did the best you could. So it's funny how Stephan Stearns kind of operates. He likes to tear you down, and then he tries to build you back up again. He plays a lot of psychological games with people, whether he knows it or not. I think he's just kind of programmed that way because he's an extremely manipulative person. So let's keep going. The only ways you knew how, just like everyone else in their own respective situations. We are all just trying in our own way to get through. Obviously, you and mom had your own share of interesting childhood memories with your own respective parents, and those experiences had their own lasting effects on you both, whether you are aware of them or not. These things all have a trickle-down effect from generation to generation. And things like pain and trauma can also be passed down through the years. And your parents had their own fair share of pain and trauma too. This seems to be the way of life for many people. Some have it worse than others. But as to what effect any of this had in regards to my current situation, I can't really say. I don't know for certain, and I'm not a licensed psychologist, but there is plenty of research and literature on these subjects available to anyone with access to a search engine and the desire to learn more about it. He sounds like he's writing a Reddit post right now. If anybody who's been following this along with us, we've read a lot of his Reddit posts where he'll sound like he's an expert in everything. This sounds exactly like he writes his Reddit posts. Exactly, verbatim. If I didn't know this was an email, I think it's another Reddit post that we just missed and we're reading it for the first time. Let's keep going. I don't know if that is the answer you're looking for, and obviously this is all from my own perspective, point of view, which might be much different from yours or mom's. As I said, I don't fully lay the blame on either of you because I made my own share of mistakes and I had my own problems, which you both did your best to deal with, and I know I gave you both plenty of grief along the way, too, especially after my auto accident and the brain injury. He keeps going back to that. The reason why he keeps going back to that is because that is his defense. And he knows that these emails are going to be read. He knows that these emails are going to be read. And so he wants this to be read to the jury. He wants us to know brain injury, brain injury. Brain injury is the reason for all of this. I did not do it on my own volition, ladies and gentlemen. I was forced to do it by the Goodyear tires that ran over my head, that made me do it. The Goodyear tires made me do it. Brain injury. The next email, and we'll stop it here because I want to read these emails and dissect them before I jump into them. I just don't want to read them for you guys. I want to know what they're saying so I can actually give you probative reflection on it. And I want to listen to Jen Soto interview that came in the packet. It's not a new interview, but I heard a piece of it. And I was like, I got to listen to this again. Just a little piece of it because it's so riveting. The more you listen to these interviews, the more you learn about the psychology of these people and just how horrible the choices that they made were. So, says books delivered. That's the title. This one came in at 2:39 p.m. It says, now I'd like to talk about more pleasant things, if that's okay. I'm already feeling pretty depressed without going over the details of my life. How are the puppies doing? And how are things going at work? Any news? Did you have a good birthday or eat anything special for it? And that was his response. And then I think Chris Stearns responds. You guys want me to read the response for Chris Stearns? Or you guys want to go to the Jen Soto interview? Let's take a poll. Start a poll. Chris Stearns response. I can't type for nothing. Or Jen Soto interview. We got to change this Chris and change this one to Jen. Let's see. Start the poll. Any, okay. I thought I did some typos in there. Nope. Guys, let me know Chris Stearns' response or Jen Soto's interview. We'll do both, but which one you want to do first? All right. Well, we weren't going to do both. We're just going to go to Jen, but we still will cover Jen. So it looks like people want me to read Chris's response. So we'll read Chris's response real quick, and then we'll go to Jen Soto's interview. Remember, we've heard this interview before, so we're not breaking news, all right? We've heard this interview before that I want to play. It's just I want to go over again because when I listened to it, it was like, oh my God, this is crazy. This is insane. All right, let's keep going. Somebody says your poll is messed up. Chris Stearns' response or Jen Soto interview. How's it messed up, Aki? Uh, Una, who's celebrating 4 months as a patrol. A patrol, she says, a patrol of, she says, thanks for the excellent work you do. Thanks for the work you do. All right, cool. Appreciate you. Now I'm trying to process what other people are saying in the chat. Okay, let's do it. So we're going to read Chris's response first to Stephan Stearns, and then we will go over to Jen Soto's interview very quickly. I just wanted to know if you guys wanted me to just segue straight into Jen Soto, or if you wanted me to finish their conversation. Let's finish their conversation. I think it's the right thing to do. It's a good call from the poll. We'll go ahead and end that poll. Great job, guys. All right. Before we get started, big shout out to M. Rachel with a $4.99 super chat. Says, so many TTMS opportunities missed last night. That needs to be a hot button on your desk. What's TTMS? I'm not sure. You guys got to understand, I'm a little old. I'm 41. That's a dinosaur. Like, when I'm on the beach, I can't even look at like a 25-year-old hottie in a bikini because it's disgusting because I'm old, okay? Aside from the fact that my wife would smack the crap out of me. But aside from that, I'm old now. So I'm not up on all of these, abbreviations that you young people do. TTMS? What is that? TTMS. Somebody please. Oh, TYSM is thank you so much. But what's a TTMS? I mean, you got to define it, Rachel, because you paid money to send me that message, and I don't understand it. When Rachel gives us a response to what TTMS, does that make sense? Okay, no, you messed it up. It's DTMS. Okay, so you went to say, does that make sense? Okay, see, I knew I wasn't losing my mind because
does that make sense?
It didn't make sense. But now, Rachel, she made it make sense. Okay, good job. We on the same level. Okay, I'm not that old. All right, so let's read the response here from Chris Stearns to Stephan Stearns. How do you say mea culpa? I know somebody's going to hit me out like, I love you, strategic, but this is how you say the word. They're going to phonetically spell that thing. It's not a mea, it's a maya, it's a mea. I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm just an educated hood booger. I'm trying. I'm sorry. Let's keep going. All right. Hey, Steph, it's good to hear from you. I'm glad I can snag these messages in the middle of the afternoon. I'm sorry I didn't see your message until late yesterday. I didn't get home until 9 p.m. and I was in Orlando for a meeting. Mom is taking the bros for shots. I guess she's talking about the puppies. The puppies are pretty vocal, either wanting more food or having an insatiable appetite, looking to snack on mom or wanting attention. They're very loving and good cuddlers. Yesterday, I met a 92-year-old man who was full of stories. One thing that stood out was that he'd been to Area 51, seen things not allowed to talk about, he told me anyway, which I cannot repeat. Flown with Chuck Yeager and was involved with the Cuban crisis. One comment is in response about our numerous moves was due to the economic climate and business turmoil as you were growing up. All right, so he's going to now defend himself a little bit. One thing I learned about Chris Stearns is he's big about defending his honor, his perceived honor. And how do I know this is because I have had communication with him. It was always very respectful. I have nothing negative to say about him with our communication. I don't agree with the things that necessarily the interactions and the things that they said in this case, but the interactions I've had with him has always been respectful. All right. It is what it is. I always call a spade, right? But one thing I've gleaned from the limited conversations that we have had is that he is always trying to defend his honor and set the record straight as to what he believed the narrative should be, right? So he started off good, but it looks like he's defaulting to classic Chris Stearns. He's got to tell Stephan, well, this is the reason why. We got to set the record straight. So let's listen. One comment in response about our numerous moves is due to the economic climate and business turmoil as you were growing up. You were too young to know what was happening. Many mergers and acquisitions during those times resulted in businesses consolidating to pay the debt used to make those acquisitions. When this happened, many jobs and positions were eliminated, all part of doing business. Most companies of those companies and positions no longer exist today. And those remaining people I grew up working with, have all faded to whatever. There is no security whatsoever working in the corporate world. You're better off working for yourself. Today, it's worse. For those willing to work, which doesn't seem like a lot, working for a company today means you're really there at the whim of whoever is managing the business. There are no longer 30 or 40-year employees receiving gold watches. You're at best an independent contractor. Employers today churn and burn through employees. I'm sure you experienced some of the corporate world while at Disney. It's just business, and everyone is expendable or collateral damage. Regardless, you do what you must to feed the family and survive. I can't say I agree with what he's saying. Just speaking as an adult, from an adult perspective, it is very tough out there for people working in the private sector. That's why I've always said that I was always been grateful to work for the public sector. You're not going to make the most money. You're not going to get rich, okay? But what you get is job security. And with job security, you can build a life, right? You could find your way, right? So I was perusing the internet and somebody was like, oh, strategic is rich. Like, what? No, I'm barely middle class. I'm working poor. But because I am a government worker and I have job security, I know how to plan my life out. And that's the blessing of being in the public sector versus the private sector. Meanwhile, in the private sector, you're going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars in instances, not all the time. And you're going to make tons of money, and there's going to be tons of bonuses. Like you could get a bonus at the end of the year and this, that, and the third, and all this cool stuff. And if you work for Google, after you demonetize true crime or strategic, you could go into the cafeteria and eat caviar and get a massage. Yeah, that's great. But then next week, Google fires half their staff, right? And then now you're out of a job. Whereas people who work for the government, they know for the most part, so long as they're doing something that is actually beneficial to the people, they're going to continue to have a job until they retire. So I hear what he's saying, and I agree with it, It's very tough out there. And I think that Stephan didn't understand that that's the reason why those people were moving around, because they're just trying to survive. But anyway, let's keep going. This is all very true so Stearns responded back and says, this is all very true of the corporate world. I largely blame the decline of our country to corporate entities in their attitudes, greed, and manipulation of the political world that have led to this sort of downslide. They have been doing it since the 1950s, and we are experiencing the end effects of it now, from bleeding the economy for all it's worth and not contributing back to age gaps and the prioritization of maximum profits over long-term stability or survival. So I guess Stearns, what he's saying is, and I'm making this up, I'm using my imagination. He's got a problem with corporate America, so I think he's been protesting all this time. That's why he hasn't been able to maintain a job, because he's just been protesting against the machine, right? He didn't want to contribute to the corporate machine. That's why he refused to actually get a decent job. Anyway, let's keep going. Okay. They have bled the country, corrupted the political processes, and created generations of wage slaves. It's appalling. Capitalism is a good thing, but everything needs to have some moderation. Too much of a good thing becomes a bad thing. As we can now see, wages needs to increase to meet the cost of living in a realistic way. Sorry if the CEO can't buy their third yacht and a lakeside summer home in Italy, but the reality is that many employees cannot afford to live on the wages they receive, making profits as fast as possible while slashing costs. Reducing product quality and criminally underpaying employees is not a sustainable business model. That's where we are now. There needs to be some responsibility to your workers too, not just your investors and executives. A rising tide should raise all boats. And now, so he makes this like generalized kind of like socialistic kind of statement. I think he's trying to find some commonality with his dad, but then his dad rebuttals and says, not all corporations are like what you describe, but the ones that are, it's self-evident. On the brighter side, I like what I see happening in tech. It is changing quickly and is fast-paced and becoming increasingly fast. Buckle up. I like the emerging technologies, and you know how much I love tech stuff. Anything to improve efficiency. How's the commissary fund? All right, we'll stop it there. Page 22. We'll stop it there at the middle of page 22. Wow, interesting stuff. What's happening over here in the chat? You guys having a good time? I love the engagement. Thanks for supporting the channel, guys. You guys are amazing. Big shout out to Deanna Muniz with a $2.99 super sticker. And then she came back with a $1.99 super sticker. Deanna, thank you. You are appreciated. It's very kind of you. Michelle DeMattis is celebrating 4 months as a recruit member. Thank you so much as well. It's very kind. You guys are awesome. Let's go back to the chat. All right. Let me set up this audio I wanted to play for you guys real quick. Let's see here. You know what? Let me go ahead, because I actually have downloaded. Oh, so all this stuff is going to be on a Patreon, by the way, guys. So for my Patreon members, you will have access to download this in its entirety. So just give me a couple hours to kind of like upload it, figure out how to do it. But certainly for everybody who is a Patreon member, unfortunately for the members on YouTube, YouTube does not have a function that allows me to upload documents. And I think you guys know that. So it's not possible for me to give you these documents on YouTube. But if you are a Patreon member, we'll go ahead and upload this stuff to the Patreon and you'll have access to it. All right. And if you're not a Patreon member, I definitely encourage you to go on over there and become a member. And also, you can get these documents on your own. You can get them on your own if you're willing to put in the work. Please do. Go get them on your own. But if you want to get them from me, you're going to have to go over and support the Patreon, and then you'll be able to get access to this stuff as all other YouTubers are doing. It's not just True Crime with Strategic. Everybody's doing it that way. Okay. So that being said, we do appreciate you and we love your support. Let me go ahead and let me see here. Oh, this is MP3. What's going on here? What is this? Oh, these are jail calls. Okay, we already heard those jail calls. Let's see here. This one's 613. Boom. All right, you know what? This one I'm going to do. We're going to back that out. Let's see here. All right, so this is going to be victim's mother. Hopefully you guys can hear this.
Primarily me.
All right, let's go here.
This is Detective Acosta.
You're correct? Your mom? Okay. And then dad lives in Texas, I'm assuming? Is that what I understand?
Yes, but he's actually on his way to Florida.
Okay. How long have you and Stephan been together?
Stephan and I have been
I'm sorry,
together.
Stephan.
It's okay. On and off for about 7 years.
7 years?
Yeah.
Okay, and you guys still currently live together?
No. He recently moved back down in December to Northport, Florida.
Okay.
His dad had offered him a job, but it fell through.
Okay.
So he's kind of stuck down there until we can financially afford to bring him back home.
Gotcha.
We are waiting for... He used to work at Disney.
Okay. What did you do at Disney?
He worked in attractions at Epcot.
Okay. And what was the job that his dad was trying to get him, do you know?
It was like construction manager or like an assistant construction manager or project manager, something like that. Like an apprenticeship kind of thing.
Okay.
That fell through. So we were waiting, we have to wait a specific amount of time for you to reapply to Disney again.
Okay.
From when you resigned.
Right.
So we're waiting for that time for him to reapply again so that he can come back up here.
Okay. So how often does he stay at the apartment with you guys?
So he was living with us up until December.
Okay.
And then he's visited us since December twice or 3 times since then.
And how long does he usually stay for?
Anywhere from a few days to a week.
Okay. And then he goes back down there?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'm assuming he stays with his dad when he goes down there?
Yeah.
Okay. How long has he been in town recently?
He got into town Sunday evening.
This past Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay. And he was staying with you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then how is his relationship?
I would say super great. He treats her as his own child. He always has.
Okay.
They're very similar. They're both very childish. Like, he loves board games, video games, arts and crafts, all that stuff.
Okay.
I'm kind of a watcher.
What do you mean?
Like, I won't play the games. I'll watch them play the
Oh,
games.
okay.
I'll
I
be
see what
part
you're
of
saying.
it that
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
But he's more involved with that.
Okay.
Yeah, they're pretty great.
Okay. Do they ever go off on their own? Like, you kind of do your thing and the two of them do stuff together?
Hardly ever.
Hardly ever?
It's, for the most part, it's the three of us doing something.
Gotcha. And then when he stays, does he sleep with you, sleep on a couch, separate bedroom? What's like the sleeping arrangements like?
It depends. For the most part, he would sleep upstairs in the guest room, and me and would sleep in my bedroom downstairs.
Okay.
Sometimes he would come sleep in the bed, all three of us together.
Okay.
And rarely ever would I send them upstairs to go sleep alone, away from me, because I need a good night's sleep. Because if we sleep all the three of us together,
Oh, I can only imagine.
it's a king bed. But like my kid karates, like she just
Well, she's a so
Yeah.
she's not a small baby anymore.
no, she's not. So it's just three humans on a bed is really uncomfortable, really tight.
About how often was they would go? You would send them off on their own.
I would say honestly somewhere between, I'm going to say less than 5 times has this ever happened, right?
That's
It
fine.
hasn't been that
And this
many
is over
times.
the course of him visiting back and forth, correct?
You mean the sleeping arrangements
Yeah.
done alone?
Yeah.
No, that was including him living with us.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
Hardly ever would I send them upstairs because I had that rule that she couldn't sleep alone with him. That's just me. I'm just
Right.
very,
And then you said you and Stephan have been together for about 5.
All right, so guys, remember in this one, she's saying how 5 times the entirety of them being together is the amount of times that he was allowed to sleep alone with Maddie. Only 5 times. First of all, it's 5 times too many. All right, how many of you women? Because most of my audience are females. Okay, most of my audience are females. So this question is for you, for the audience. How many of you ladies who have boyfriends and husbands who are not the biological father of your daughters, how many of you have allowed your boyfriend to sleep in the bed alone with your children? Now, we're not talking about everybody's on the couch watching a movie late night and everybody fall asleep on the couch together. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about everybody's in the bed together watching a movie in the master bedroom and everybody fall asleep. We're not talking about that. These things happen. All right. We can't corrupt things and make things ugly just because a corrupt and ugly person uses normal circumstances to do something evil. We're not talking about that. Families do things like that sometimes. That's okay. I'm talking about how many of you said go upstairs and go to bed together while I sleep down here because I need a good night's rest. How many of you in the chat have allowed your boyfriend or your husband, who is not the biological father of your child, specifically female child, even though boys could be at risk too, but we're just going to keep it female because Maddie's a female. How many of you have allowed that to happen one time? One time. Let's keep going.
5 to 7 years?
7 years, yeah.
7 years, okay. So you're pretty familiar with him?
Yeah.
Okay. Whose hand does that look like to you?
I would say it was Stephan's.
Is that Stephan's hand?
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay. So, you and Stephan, have you guys been sexually intimate before in the past?
Yes.
So you're aware of what like his penis looks like and things like that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Does this look like Stephan's penis to you?
Now, somebody said you don't do it with a biological father. Why would you do it with a boyfriend? I disagree there. Biological father is a different story. If I want to rock my baby girls, my son to bed, that's my prerogative because I'm a father and I'm a protector and I ain't no pedophile. So biological fathers do not count. Let's not live in some imaginary crazy world. Mommy could sleep with their young kid, but not daddy. That's crazy. Not every man is a threat. And I am a father and I do take offense to that. A biological father is a different animal. We're talking about stepfathers and boyfriends. Stepfathers and boyfriends. Let's not diminish real men who love their children and protect their children. Let's keep going.
No. Okay.
Picture some woman telling me I can't rock my son or my daughter to sleep. You be crazy. We'll be divorced real quick and I'll be doing whatever the hell I want to do on my weekends and holidays. Let's keep going.
Possibly, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you're thinking that's his penis?
might be.
Let's go back because this is crazy, right? Because she doesn't even know what his pee-pee look like. And we adults. So I know she lying. Oh, hell no. Because you've been with this man for almost 10 years and we know where that was at. And you don't know what it looked like? You want us to believe you don't know what it looked like. This is an adult show. Didn't I say that in the beginning of this channel? In the intro, I said, we make adult content only. There are no youngins in this chat. And if you are, you need to go because this ain't the show for you. This is a show for grown folks. When I look at my metrics, the average age of my viewer is between 35 and 45 years old. That's the average age of my viewer. You want us to believe you don't know what his junks look like. They sent you a picture of the member of a man that you have been with, and we know he's a sick MFer. We know that. For almost 10 years. And you look at that picture, the cops show it to you, and you like, nope, I'm not sure. I'm not too sure. And you want us to believe that. William J., you watched this interview. You listened to this interview, William. William J. Mr.
Dirt under the bridge.
Mr.
Dirt under the bridge.
Listen to this interview. When the officer, and mind you, this guy has a distinctive mark on his junk. His Pee Wee Herman. He has a distinctive mark on his Pee Wee. Unlike anybody else, we still haven't figured it out. What is it? Is it a mole? Is it a gift that keeps on giving? We don't know what it is. We just know it's a distinctive mark that he has on his Weezer, his tweezer. You done mess with this guy for almost 10 years. And they show it to you. And you say, I don't know. She's a lie. Can I say that word? Can I say the L word without YouTube getting mad at me? Oh, we have to be professional. This is an untruthful statement, in my opinion. It's untruthful. Let's keep going.
Yeah,
So you're thinking that's his penis?
might be.
Okay.
If anything, it's not even the penis I'm recognizing, it's the things around it.
So it's the things around it that make you believe it's his penis?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Let me go back. I want the context. Because she ended up saying that she thinks it's it simply because of the things around it. The things around it. So she never identifies the actual member. She says it's his based off of the sheets, the lamp, the table, the colors, the decorations. Let's keep going.
She couldn't sleep alone with him. That's just me. I'm just
Right.
very...
And then you said you and Stephan have been together for about 5 to 7 years?
7 years, yeah.
7 years, okay. So you're pretty familiar with him?
Yeah.
Okay. Whose hand does that look like to you?
I I would say that's Stephan's.
Is that Stephan's hand?
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay. So, you and Stephan, have you guys been sexually intimate before in the past?
Yes.
So you're aware of what like his penis looks like and things like that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Does this look like Stephan's penis to you?
No.
So somebody says that she wasn't doing it with him. Just because people take breaks doesn't mean that they didn't have thousands of instances where they were intimate. So they were having issues and maybe they weren't intimate in a little while, but that's no excuse as to not know what it looks like. Furthermore, Stephan Stearns talked about how he would come out the shower and Jen and Maddie would admire him and crack jokes of him while he was unclothed. It's not the first or the last time, and he'd like to do that. It's not the first or the last time that she had seen him without clothing. Lastly, the officer asked, have you ever been intimate with this guy? And she said yes. And then he said, would you be able to recognize his Weezer? And the answer was yes. Not maybe, no, it's been a while, I don't know, I never really paid attention to it. You know, I wasn't that into this kind of stuff. So I never got a good look at it, you know? We're like the Amish, so we poke holes in the sheet and we just lay down like this and then things happen. She didn't say that. She said yes. She said, yes, I can recognize it. So guess what? We're taking your word for it because you're an adult and you know the difference between right and wrong. Like when you're doing a forensic interview with a juvie, you got to say, I can't say juvie. People get offended when I say that. With a young person, I'm just trying not to say the C word because apparently that is a flag word for YouTube. That's why I'm trying to find every word but to use the typical word we'd call young human beings, right? I'm trying my best, guys, because they keep coming for the show. When you start off a forensic interview, oftentimes you would ask this young person, you say, do you know the difference between right and wrong? Do you know the difference between a lie and the truth? So if I told you that today I looked into the sky and the sky was black, what would you say? Would you say that that's the truth? Or would you say that that was a lie? And then the young person would say, well, that would be a lie because at 2 p.m., I remember looking at the sky and the sky was blue. It wasn't black, right? So you do that when you're dealing with a young person. This is not a young person. This is an adult. So if I ask you a question, do you know what his Weezers look like? And you say yes, and I ask you if you've been intimate with him and you say yes, then I expect that you're going to be honest when I show you a picture of that member, and that member has distinctive features that are unique to Stephan Stearns. Features that stand out beyond most other ones. So if you line up a whole bunch of junks, his would stand out because he has distinctive features. So when she says no, I think she's not being honest. But that's just my opinion. Let's keep going.
No. Okay. What about that?
Possibly, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you're thinking that's his penis?
might be.
Okay.
If anything, it's not even the penis I'm recognizing, it's the things around it.
So it's the things around it that make you believe it's his penis?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have these images, and unfortunately, over the last maybe 2 or 3 years, he's been doing stuff with oral sex.
So somebody in the chat was like, well, maybe those distinctive features were not in the photo. And since we haven't seen the photo, that's actually a very plausible statement. But when you're doing an investigation, you're looking at the totality of the information you have, not just the information you're presented with. So as I'm doing my investigation of this case, using my detective brain, I'm looking at the totality of the information that I have. And the totality of the information I have is that what is Jen Soto's primary fallback position when it comes to Stephan Stearns? Let's see how many detectives we have in the chat. What is her her primary default fallback position. Somebody says she starts speaking in a whisper and it's so fake. Very true, but that's not what I'm looking. Let's keep going. The closest person, there we go. Somebody got it. I was going to give it to Mountain Mama, but the person who hit it on the head, the nail on the head, is Stony Baloney Barb. To defend him. The totality of the information we have so far is that her default position is to always defend Stephan Stearns. So when I had that information that she's always looking out for Stephan, she's always defending Stephan, and now they show her that picture and she goes, look at this. What does that look like? Does that look like that belongs to Stephan? She goes, nah, nope. Well, what about this picture? Well, maybe. Probably because of the stuff in the background. Well, who else had access to that home and had the same complexion as Stephan Stearns? And we'll go on a limb and say discerning features or unique features to be in the bed, in that location, have access to that room. Who else but him? Who else but him? But yet she's still hesitant, like, well, you know what? Maybe because of the surrounding things, I would say that to him, Does that not come off more as somebody who's trying to protect another individual rather than somebody who legitimately is like, no, I don't really recognize that. Nah. Oh, is that Stephan? Huh? And then look at this as well. Human nature. I know we're all different. We come from different experiences. Listen, I learned that reading some of your emails, interacting with some of you guys, listening to some of the hate mail that I get. Some of you guys are different. We would never sit down and have lunch together. We would never cross paths. I would never date you if I was single. I would never be friends with you because we're so different. We come from different backgrounds. I get that. But we do all share a common baseline because we're freaking human beings, right? Wouldn't you say, well, if that's Stephan, why you guys have a picture of Stephan's pee-pee? What's up with that? They're showing her pictures of Stephan's member, and she's very calm and very aloof and very defensive. Is this Stephan Stearns? Nope. Not even, why are you showing me a picture of a pee-pee that you're saying belongs to Stephan? Wouldn't that be a normal thing that any one of us would say? If somebody showed me a picture of my lady's vajayjay, I'd be like, why are you showing me a picture of JJ? What's going on here? What are we doing here? Bro, whoa. Before you ask me any more questions, my G, why are you showing me that picture for? What that got to do with anything? What that got to do with a missing kid? What's happening here? Whoa, hold on. Let me show you another picture. Is that it? Whoa. That's my bedroom. Or that's my spare bedroom. Why are you showing me a picture of this junks in the spare bedroom? What's going on? She doesn't ask any of those questions. Why didn't she ask those questions? Like, hey, why are you showing this to me? She's just going along for the ride. Might be his. The stuff in the background looks familiar, so maybe that's his, but it might be his. Why is that? When I hear that and I look at the totality of the evidence, it makes me seem like this is a person that's hesitantly answering because they're trying to protect themselves and they're also trying to protect someone else, namely Stephan Stearns. It's not, I don't know, it's not honesty, it's defending him, in my opinion. Let's keep going.
Vaginal sex and things like that.
What makes you guys?
We have photos. We have his phone. We were able to get into his phone.
Let's go back.
Over the last maybe 2 or 3 years,
They're breaking it
he's
to her.
been doing stuff with.
They're breaking it to her now.
oral sex, vaginal sex, and things like that.
What makes you guys?
We have photos.
They just dropped a nuclear bomb on her. And the first thing she says is, what makes you guys? She wanted to say, what makes you guys believe this? I will give her grace for that. I'll give her a pass. They just dropped a nuclear bomb and she says, well, what makes you say this? What's your evidence? I give her a pass for that. I would be like, oh my God. But I'm not going to hold that against her. She wants to know, where's the proof? Let's keep going. I give her that. Let's go.
Okay.
We have his phone. We were able to get into his phone. And there are some very, very unfortunate graphic pictures of him conducting various sexual acts with. I wish I could tell you this was all a made-up story, but it's not. Did you ever suspect anything like this? No? You okay?
Check right now.
Okay. Can I get you anything?
He's dropping a bomb on her. Maddie's missing. She's now got picture evidence of Stearns. The first picture, my understanding is the first picture was a zoomed in picture of just his junks. The second picture was of his junks, the room, and a mouth. That's my understanding of looking at this case. If I'm wrong, then I apologize, but my mind's eye tells me that this is what was described in other documents. So now she's got his little tweezers. She's got a mouth that she should know belongs to Maddie, but, you know, maybe she doesn't recognize it because she doesn't recognize anything. She's got a background that she says she recognizes as a home, and she acknowledges that that peen most likely belonged to Stephan Stearns because it's inside of the room that she recognizes. And now they're telling her that there's video and photo evidence of years of abuse. Her response is, I'm in shock. That's her response. Sometimes I don't need to say anymore. I leave it up to you to figure out if that's appropriate or not. Let's keep going.
Maybe some water.
Some water? If you want to stay. Yeah.
How are you feeling right now?
I can't breathe.
Is this a surprise?
Is there photos of her?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, you know.
He said, is it a surprise? She doesn't answer the question. She says, is the photos of her? He says yes. Let's see what he continues.
How we have his phone. Obviously, that's how we were able to find the photos in there.
I don't want to believe that this is true.
I don't want to believe that this is true. That's her next response. I'm in shock. I need some water. Are the photos of her? I don't want to believe that this is true. These are all of her statements, her quotes. I'm quoting them right now off the top of my dome. Since the nuclear bomb was dropped on her, those are the only things she said so far. Let's see what else we got going on. Let's see what else Jen has for us.
Can I see some of that evidence?
Can I see some of the evidence? I'm in shock. I need some water. Are the photos of her? I don't want to believe that this is true. Can I see some of the evidence? Let's keep going.
What makes you believe that it's not?
I thought I knew him well enough.
And the reason why she doesn't believe it is because she thought she knew him long enough.
You said you thought you knew him well enough?
So, our goal, we want to find her. Can you think of anything of where Stephan would take her? Did they have any special hangout spots? Did they have any places that they would do together while you were at work or you had other things going on in your life?
The only place they would go is hang out at home. There's no place I can think of that they've gone outside. I mean, they've gone shopping to like Target before.
Okay. But anywhere else that you can...
So then they segue into more information as to how they could locate Maddie. So far, do you guys think that her response to this nuclear bomb that was dropped on her is appropriate? She starts talking about the Target and all these places they would hang out. So far, after they have exposed her to the ugliest truth, a family shame that has persisted for years, that allegedly nobody knew but Madeline Soto and Stephan Stearns. Do you believe so far that her response to this information that has been happening right underneath her nose for years is the appropriate response? I leave it up to you to answer that. It's not for me to tell you. It's for you as an individual to answer. Let's keep going.
Can think of. What are you thinking about right now?
How this can be true? How I missed the signs?
What signs are you saying you missed?
No, like I'm just saying, if there were any signs, I didn't see any.
Right. Like these aren't. I'm not telling you. Like,
Right. So then she goes into defending herself. I didn't know what happened. I must have missed the signs because I didn't see any indication that this was happening. So then she goes into self-preservation mode. So now finally when her voice gets elevated, right, and we start seeing some emotion from Jen Soto, what do we see? Protectionism. Self-preservation. I did not see it. I didn't see the signs. Wasn't me. Happened right underneath my nose, but I had no clue that it happened. Let's keep going.
these aren't just Google images that we found. Like, these are actual images. And I don't want you to see images of your daughter like that. I don't. But this investigation has taken us down this road. So wherever you think can be right now, we want to know so we can go get her safely.
Of course. I just have no idea.
Did Stephan ever take her back down to Newport Richie?
Newport, Florida?
Newport, Florida, I'm sorry.
Alone? No.
Alone? You guys would go together?
Yeah. Or I would drive down with, and we would just hang out.
Okay. So when Stephan would not stay at the house with you guys, where else would he stay?
In his apartment in his house in Northport, Florida. That's it.
But when he would visit here, he would always stay in your house? He would never go get a hotel or stay at a friend's house or anything like that?
No, he stayed at our place.
Okay. Why did he go to Newport, Florida this morning?
This morning?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. I'm just curious. I heard a rumor that he possibly went down there.
No.
Why did he go to Newport, Florida? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to end it here. Because once again, a nuclear bomb was dropped on this woman. The only time she elevated her voice was when she wanted to convey to the detectives that she didn't see the signs, that she had no clue that this was happening. And now that she knows that Stephan was the last person to see her daughter, she knew that from day one. Now that she knows definitively, we know that she knows. Whether she knew before or not, we can't prove that yet. But we know definitively now, all of us, every single one of us, that she knows now that Stearns was doing the most diabolical and evil things to Madeline Soto. And they ask her, why was Stearns in Newport? And her response was not with vigor again. I have no idea why Stephan Stearns was in wherever he was, like St. Cloud, wherever they're saying, Newport, I don't know. I'm not going to go back. The same vigor that she showed when she was defending herself, saying, I didn't see the signs. Nope. I don't know. I don't know. I ask you guys, one of the smartest audiences on YouTube, once again, I ask you, are these responses, is this energy, is this aura, is it appropriate based off of the information that's being shared with this woman at this moment, at that time? I have my own opinions, but I'm more interested in what your opinion is. All right, guys. We got a lot to get out of these emails. We're just getting started. I'm going to come live again tonight and do another video. So I hope you guys watch these videos. I hope you get something from it. I hope it's probative. I hope it's just not a waste of your time, but you're getting something from it. I'm also interested in hearing what you guys think about this stuff inside of the comments section. I'm going to ask you one more time to hit that like button. We have 360 people watching this live stream right now, but only 280 likes. I think we can at least close out the show with 300 likes. I think we can do that. Make sure you hit that like button, that thumbs up. Make sure that you leave a comment. If you don't have anything probative to say, at least say where you're calling from. Hey, I'm in Melbourne. Hey, I'm in Mississippi. Hey, I'm in UK. Hey, I'm in Japan. I'm in South Africa. We have an international audience. Little old me, strategic, in my basement, has the pleasure and the honor of talking to people all over the world. I thank you for that. I'm heartened by that, and I'm humbled by that. So please make sure you hit that like button so that we can be seen by a wider audience across this world. All right, guys, this stuff will be on the Patreon, so give me a little bit. I will upload it to the Patreon, so if you're a Patreon member, you can go ahead and subscribe to that, and you can have access to that. And lastly, the moderators do an excellent job making this a safe space for survivors, because we have a lot of people who are survivors that watch this show. We can't have the Wild Wild West. We can't have a chat where ignorant people and trolls can come into it and disturb our peace and disrupt our mission, which is to give a voice to the voiceless. That is our mission. That is our raison d'être. I know I said that terribly because I'm not French. Big shout out to the moderators. So please consider giving them some coffee so that they can definitely be rewarded for their hard work. And that coffee is also shared with the research crew, and the research crew does an amazing job giving us content and giving us facts that we can share with you guys. So I'll see you guys a little bit later. Remember, I'm on vacation, so we're giving you multiple shows a day. Multiple shows are being dropped for the membership and the Patreon, multiple shows for everybody else. So we're here, we're exploiting it, we're making sure we have a great time and giving you a ton of content. Make sure that you're liking, subscribing, and you're sharing that content with your friends and family. I'll see you guys on the next one, which is going to be very soon. Strategic is out of here. Peace.